Good now, everybody, and welcome officially to the Rise Up Morning Show. Today is Monday, November 4th, and you are tuned in for helpful news, commentary, and, of course, answers to your crypto questions with me, Evan, Alex, and Will. And now that Keith is here in the TikTok audience, I'm going to give you the theme song.
Good morning, the Rise Up Morning Show.
God, so good. Will, I must ask you a question. Was that part of a costume? Your beautiful bar there? Well, you muted yourself in both places, so I'd love to know your answer, though.
Nerd.
Unmute on
You brought
the
shame.
TikTok.
Yes.
Oh no, he's going to commit
Cool.
Harry now. Yeah, there it is. You can't do that to yourself, Will. We need you, man. We need you.
At least give us the economic picture before you commit seppuku.
Before I commit seppuku.
Yeah. So what's up with the mustache, man? It looks fire.
Well, I shaved the mustache in because I needed it for my Freddie Mercury costume, which I wore just to make that one video. So I did it for the tiki-taki, but also I almost always have a mustache now for Movember.
Oh, okay.
Which is, I think, maybe my girlfriend's favorite month because she loves the mustache and she wants me to have it all the time.
I feel like mustaches are really divisive with girlfriends.
Oh, they're super divisive. It's there's no in between.
No.
With girlfriends, it is just hatred, or she's just ripping my clothes off all the time. With dudes, it's always nice mustache.
Yeah,
hell
man.
yeah. It's always hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. And across the board, just hell yeah, man. By either people who also have a mustache, which is always great because like it's just like unity and solidarity, or men who don't have facial hair and want the mustache, just going, you did it. You did the thing I wanted. Hell yeah.
That's exactly right. What's the official over-under at the Rise Up Morning Show chat for how many Halloween costumes Will had this year? And why is it at least 12? That's my question. How many costumes did you have, Will?
Well, it was 10, which was hilarious because I didn't even see the comments. If you guys didn't notice, the one is like, yo, $50 bet says you can't do 10 costumes. And I didn't see them because I was literally going from costume change to costume change to costume change. And then I was doing costume change and then figuring out what the hell I was going to talk about in the next video. I was like really scraping the barrel. I was like, oh, I can do helpful tips for people.
Well, it doesn't even matter because we were not watching the videos for the substance. We were watching them for more costumes.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. That's why I just started flexing in like the Green Power Ranger costume. And I was like, I didn't even know what I was saying anymore. Yeah, and I did 10. I could have done more. I could have done, it's 13, I think I have, maybe 14 if I like really stretch one out. And I was going to go live that night too, but I was too tired. I was going to go live as dressed as a cowboy. And then people would like come on live and be like, he's another costume.
Yeah, dude. Bullish on Will's costumes.
And then see, you know, when you start making good money from your crypto trades, you too can have an entire section of your closet dedicated to costumes.
Is this the real Casey Craig? I saw Casey Craig make a return to TikTok videos.
She was on live last night.
And she said she might roll through the show today. So if that's you, Casey, please do feel free to request. We've got
although
for our friends on YouTube, you won't be able to see Casey, but that's okay. You'll hear her lovely voice, and she's
it's a time-honored tradition to bring fake Casey on the stage on accident.
It is a tradition.
Yeah, that's right. You're right about that.
She says yes, but that's exactly what a bot would say.
Yeah, it is.
If you reply with beep, beep, boop, bop, boop, I would believe you.
We got another comment a second ago. Someone said BTC is looking like the Titanic. That might have been the scariest thing folks have seen this Halloween. But if you've seen something scary, whether it's in the crypto space or you just want to tell us how your Halloween weekend was, we'd love to hear from you. Feel free to tap the request button. Feel free to leave us a comment. Feel free to jump in on the YouTube stream, on TikTok, wherever you are, whenever you listen. This is the Rise Up Morning Show. And here is Casey Craig. What's going on, Casey? How you doing? Good to see you again.
It's real.
beep beep boop bop. Nope, it's fake.
Oh, damn it.
These bots are getting so good.
God, these T1 800 Terminators are getting so good.
What's up, everybody?
Not much. You got bangs. They look great.
I did. Thank you. I'm not gonna lie. I just woke up, and so they're kind of crazy right now. But
well, it is morning
I
somewhere.
might have
So
suggest snapbacks because they're my
bangs,
go-to.
mustache. We all got the new deal going on.
Yeah, all this new hair.
I know. I'm ready to put a hat on.
No, don't fret about it. How was your Halloween?
It was wonderful. I have a Polymarket hat that I can put on.
Oh, not sponsored, but it should be. Dang.
No, it's not sponsored, but that's the hat that I have right now that I'll throw on. Halloween was good. It was a lot of fun. I hung out with my lifelong best friend and went over to her house. She had people over her house, and we handed out candy for the kids. So no big party or anything, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Being in Boston for the past 8 years, there are only certain neighborhoods that like really do trick-or-treating, and the ones that do, they do it really, really well. But I haven't lived in one, and so like I've just been an adult being like, I want to give the candy.
Yeah, I actually haven't had a good candy giving Halloween in a long time. I really looked forward to that when I was like becoming an adult, and I gotta say I have not lived up to my own expectations. Mostly I'm out.
Mine's like a yo-yo. So last year was slammed. I ran out. This year I had 3 kids, and they each got like 18, 25 pieces. They just took handfuls because I had so much.
They were pumped.
Next year I will undercut myself, and we will be flooded again.
I have a funny Halloween candy story for you guys. So in my last house, I was the Joneses to be kept up with in the neighborhood. Like I gave out the best candy bars.
Hell yeah.
And I'd have I'd go in and make hot chocolate and like bring it out in the crock pot, hand it out, I did up Halloween, and I rented out that house. And this year my renters were like, what is happening? Why does everybody like expecting things from us when they come to our house? And I'm like, oh yeah, I probably should have warned you that you are the Halloween house.
Yeah,
sorry.
They needed that warning. Because I can still picture the houses in like my childhood neighborhood that were the best house. If you heard that was the best house, your 120% of your small little child attention span brain was dedicated towards getting to those houses. And you remembered it throughout the whole year. So yeah, not surprised, but I'm glad to see that like traditional trick-or-treating is still going. In my neighborhood, it was a dude that had hot cider and candy apples, because he had like an apple orchard, and it was like that shit. We were like, oh, what? It was amazing.
Dude, my parents would have never let me take a candy apple, because that was like right around the time I was in the trick-or-treating frenzy. I feel like was when everybody was extra scared that somebody was going to put like a razor blade in your stuff. It had to be wrapped, I would have loved that though. That would have been killer.
I didn't see if he did it this year, but we usually have a guy in this neighborhood who turns his garage into a mini haunted house, and the kids have to walk through a maze to find candy at the end. And Christina went through it last year, and he went all out. He did a good job. He had lights and sound effects and smoke and all sorts of stuff.
Mama Swiss, who I believe is also Earthy Hen on TikTok, says that they do hot dogs and fudge.
Ooh,
which seems like an odd combo, but I'd sign me up, man. I'd be there.
A little savory, a little sweet,
Yeah, I respect it too, because all these kids are running around. They probably are just eating candy, not eating dinner and stuff. And dad wants a hot dog, so like I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we brought you here to talk about more than Halloween. We would love to hear, in the crypto sphere, there's always something happening, up, down, different. Did I hear you say in the video I saw that you had an exit recently, and so you've just kind of been taking your time and doing some stuff, or did I misunderstand you, Casey?
Yeah, so I actually, for those of you that know me, I've been with AR Crypto the last couple of years, and we built that company as a crypto education company, and it was super fun, like incredible journey, incredible community. And I actually have exited my active role at that position and some of my equity position, but I still do hold some equity in that company. I want to see them do well. There's no bad blood, for the record, like nothing bad happened or anything, just went different directions. But yeah, I left a few months back, and now I'm just living life.
Well, good for you.
Back on TikTok.
Yeah, back on TikTok.
Ooh.
Well, since you're our guest, I'd love to hear from you in terms of, you're back on. The election is obviously everyone's favorite news story. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like we've kind of like talked about it and then we forgot about it. And then we talked about it. And then you know what I mean? Like it's so, we're so over it. But if you want to talk about that, or if there's something else in your crosshairs or headlights, if you've got a question you've been pondering, Casey, we're just thrilled to have you back. We're thrilled to have a woman on the show who is not just here for token diversity. I don't know what it is, but we seem to attract white guys like magnets. So
pretty much.
And we love you. So what's on your brain lately? What's piquing your interest? It's Monday and it's morning. So take us away.
Yeah. Happy Monday morning. So like for me, what I've been spending a lot of time on lately is I've been trading a lot more actively than I have been, as I've been super busy with like building a community the last couple of years. So trading has kind of taken like a more active role in my life, being that I'm scalping a lot more and I'm more, again, just like lower time frame active trading. I also, I don't talk about it quite as much, but I spend a lot of time in like the Solana trenches, and that's not something that I've talked about a ton on social media, but that's really what I spend a lot of my time doing. And so like that's always fun to keep you busy, but really a lot of that is just like while the market is in the space that it's at right now, I prefer to be either a swing trader or a longer term investor than an active trader. Like I don't like to be trading on low time frames. It's stressful. It's annoying. I'm being negative. It's not. It's fun and it's challenging and it's exciting. But
all those things can be true.
Yeah. But I prefer to be a longer time frame investor, and I prefer to be a longer term swing trader rather than just like an intraday trader. But it's kind of like right now, that's what the market is giving us is, the market's not super conducive for swings right now because of this chop that we've had back and forth. And, it's a little bit tricky, especially if you're trading on leverage. So that's what I've been up to, is a lot of trading. And then as far as other things go, like I've just been spending a lot of time, kind of, this is going to sound cheesy, but falling in love with DeFi again, like just really exploring all of the primitives that are happening right now and all of the developments that are going on, and like, trying to find ways that I can make a positive contribution to the space in an effort to bring forward, obviously, mass adoption, education, and whatnot. But how can I work with a lot of these projects? There's a few projects that I'm working with to just help them get their messaging across in a better way, because one of the problems that I always say that we have in crypto is we have a lot of big brain people building for big brain people. And there's no interest in, I joked last night on my live, but like the mailman or your grandma being able to figure this stuff out. Like, it's like your mailman does not give a single shit about fully homomorphic encryption. I promise you. Like, so it's
and even if they do care about it, they don't need to hear about it all the time. I was talking to someone yesterday just about, they basically said exactly what you're saying, Casey. So here's an anecdotal piece of evidence,
confirmation
thesis. Yeah, just that, like, yeah, it seems cool, but like it's over my head. And I'm like, that's just because it's being advertised to you very poorly by people who should have no business being advertisers. And
sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just the comparison that I made was like, it's a really cool video game that's being marketed by the guy who built the database, and the only thing he knows how to talk to you about is the database, and no one gives a shit.
Yeah, well, that's just the story of Cardano,
Yeah.
It's just a lot of big brain people making things for big brain people, and then marketing it without any idea of how to actually talk to people. And then you just have a disaster show from an execution standpoint, whereas Solana has big brain people doing all their building and stuff. And then the Solana Foundation of actual like business people and normal people communicating, marketing, doing the sales pitch and all that stuff. That's why Solana's done so great, making sure that the interfaces are easy to use.
They knew they needed to hire a marketing team that spoke English, versus where Cardano's tactic was like, And granted, it worked really well last time, but like, things have evolved. So now if Charles does a live stream, okay, we've seen Charles do 30 million live streams. It doesn't mean as much to us anymore. And just him being angry at all of us for not being obsessed with Cardano is a tale as old as time, and it's not new anymore. And okay, we know that Charles hates all of us, regardless of who we are and what we do. So we need something.
It had gotten funnier though when you see him like pull up in his helicopter somewhere, and then he just like, I'm angry that you're not using it. I'm like, how angry are you? how angry are you? That was a pretty rich entrance.
Yeah, I've kind of like two things to say on that too. Is the one is I think the projects that I'm finding that I'm excited about and that I respect the most are the ones who are actually doing like some of the most big brain stuff, and they want to make sure you never see it, right? Like they don't feel the need to compete. I saw a tweet the other day, and it's a metric that it's untrue, but based off of, I forget what site they used, but somebody basically figured out the number of estimated active users on crypto Twitter, and it's 26,000 people that are actively in. Yeah, so that's low. Like, there's a lot of people that are on there that aren't actively engaged, whatever. But you think about like the total addressable market for all of these products that like people think people are talking about because we live in an echo chamber. It is so small. It's like, this is not the stuff that, and I don't know, just, when people are arguing about all this stuff on crypto Twitter and whatnot, it's like, these aren't our problems, guys. Like, they're really not. There's other problems.
No, if you want
further that does sound more.
Go ahead, Will.
I was just going to say that even sounds more constructive than what my Twitter feed has been, which is like good macro stuff, but like sandwiched between just like the worst political rants you can find from people who were once just good sources of crypto information. And I'm just like, why?
Yeah, it's crazy. I think we're nearing being out of the weeds. I think that, obviously we'll have the election. We'll have a month of people arguing about the results of the election. And then hopefully we'll get back to normalcy on crypto Twitter.
That's normal.
But the second thing I wanted to address is that Soho Mama said, still hard even on Solana. You guys are in a bubble. It's really hard for regular people. I 120% agree with you. And that's one of the reasons why I don't talk a lot about, the Solana trenches and spending a lot of time on meme coins, is because it's a dangerous game for people that don't know what they're doing. And I spent a lot of time talking about this on live last night, where people, they flex their profit and losses on Twitter and on other places. And you see like, oh, I turned one Solana into $3 million on this coin. Or you'll see tweets that say like, I gave you Moodang and $1 million and it went to $300 million. And then I gave you this and I gave you that. But I encourage you all to just, first of all, comparison is a thief of joy, right? Like you have no idea. These people don't show you their losses. They also, if you ever go join their telegrams, you'll see for every 500 shitty calls that they make, they're going to hit a runner. And so you just have to kind of take the whole thing and don't take it at face value, and don't, like I always say, don't think that it's a skill issue if you're not being successful in trading meme coins. There's so much information that you don't know, such as, who's controlling the supply of that token, and are they serial deployers that just rug stuff all the time? And there's edges that people have that you don't have. So if you think that it's hard, it is hard, and it's rigged against you. And 0.001 of the meme coins that are launched every day actually succeed. So I don't know, I hope that's encouraging, and not to dissuade you from doing it, but just to understand that like there's a lot of factors against you.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, if you're one of those people who's feeling like you're hearing about wins or losses or too much information all at once, it definitely creates this impression that you need to move more quickly. Our space moves. What do we always joke? It's been a week in crypto, which is like 7 dog years or whatever. Stuff is happening all the time here. And it is so easy to get sucked into this accelerated decision-making cycle where you have no time to process information. You're just following breadcrumbs and hoping to get something out of it. And always, 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 that leads to losing more money than it leads to gaining money. It leads to a lot of buying high and selling low as your conviction changes, and that's just not where you want to be. You don't want to have to feel like you're reacting to everything. I love what you said way at the start, Casey, about not wanting to trade on such a short time frame. And I think that's really powerful, because then you can have some time and distance to really apply the experience and like the knowledge you've gained through experience, instead of just reacting to every next thing. If I had $1 for every next thing I had missed, I would be a rich man. But also, I am much richer because I did not just go from thing to thing to thing to thing, but made deliberate decisions on my time frame. So many people don't.
Just to give some examples to that too, like if people have been here since like middle to end of 2023, some really big trends that came and went, maybe they'll come back, but you had, building on Bitcoin, right? Ordinals, and oh my God, the other ones, I'm all forgetting them now. Maybe they'll come back. I think they just need more time to build, but we'll see if they end up being anything competitive at all from a DeFi standpoint. I don't think they will be as compared to what's on Solana and Ethereum and the like. You had building on Bitcoin as a huge trend, modular blockchains as a huge trend. Again, maybe they'll come back in popularity. And I had a third one in my head too that popped up and then kind of went away, and it's escaping me. But just a couple examples of just like a trend that comes that everybody in our ecosphere starts talking about. You see the first coin or maybe first 2 coins and that start flying off. And then as the market realizes that there isn't too much of a need for it yet, it goes quiet. And it's a trend that you ended up having your emotions kind of dive into at higher levels, and you're riding a bag that's not really going to come back. Oh yeah, DeSci was one. DeSci, I think, has a chance to come back out of those 3 potentially. We'll see, just because I know CZ, CEO of Binance, is super focused on decentralized science. So I think that'll keep pumping lifeblood into it. But yeah, it's another trend that kind of came and went, at least right now. But yeah.
Well, I think my favorite thing that you said, Will, too, was yet. Right? Like a lot of these things, there will be product market fit for them in the future. It's just, and now is not the time. Like there's a lot of this stuff that you see and you think about, like even myself, I've gotten wrecked investing in things that it just wasn't their time yet, right? Where I'm like, wow, this is incredible. This could really shape this industry or whatever. But that's just simply the reality is we're not there yet. And I mean, without consumers, what's a good product, Yeah.
The other thing
exactly
just worth remembering too, because this has been my thought on DeSci since the beginning of it, was that much like the idea of a DAO structure for something, it's ludicrously cool. It feels like something that we desperately need. You're probably not going to get rich on it. It has begot a lot of bullshit token investments that are getting shilled to people that actually have nothing to do with what that niche is supposed to be. Because people want to capitalize on something trendy, but like I encourage people to hear something trendy, step back and think like, okay, does it make any sense that we're all going to become millionaires from this? Or is this just a cool piece of tech that's going to help X, Y, and Z? Because if DeSci is supposed to decentralize the scientific community and help with information sourcing and study proofing and all of these different things that we are concerned about having bias and slant and money in corrupting, does it make any sense that like a gigantic flood of capital into one thing in DeSci is all of a sudden going to make for that, like decentralized, non-biased, not bought by corporate interest? Like, no, you're just trading who is holding the leash. So just like think about, because DeSci is one of my biggest pet peeves. I hate it so much because we're actively ruining what it's supposed to be, just like DAOs. DAOs are not supposed to make people rich. They're supposed to make your public library function better, or your farmers.
Alex, this is crypto. We have to turn every good thing into a Ponzi scheme. That's the game.
I know. It's literally the brand. It's take a badass idea and slap a pyramid scheme into it and then rug a bunch of people.
Okay, but just for people who are unaware, like an example of this happening in real time is stablecoins. Stablecoins are an innovation. I want you to understand. William Quigley said it on our show forever ago that we've had digital money for a long time, but tokenized digital money, and
Very
specifically new. Something that gives velocity to a powerful tool like the US dollar that cannot meet the demand that exists for it with the current supply. Like stablecoins are the most traded cryptocurrencies. They are mostly used by people around the world to get access to traditional financial services that don't exist where they live, like a stable currency, like a loan, like a savings account. And almost I don't know. A lot of people in the US are probably swapping into stables to take profits on their Doge or something, but lots of people all around the world are doing what you would call real world stuff with crypto because of that.
That's the beauty of it though, because you can use the same system to do a bunch of different things. So I would sure, you might have someone who's protecting their Obama Sonic Inu 420 Musk Doge profits into a stable coin. But guess what? That exact same stable coin on that exact same blockchain is also being used by a family in Nigeria who now has high velocity access to the US dollar without any government intervention for the first time in their life. And both of those things can coexist peacefully and in fact support the ecosystem. And that's the fucking point of this whole thing. So that's cool. That's why stablecoins, I'm super bullish on stablecoins.
Casey, I know you were going to take a point, but can I just say real quick in answer to a question we had down below? Somebody asked, this is a great question, and if you've got a question, please do feel free. We're riffing, and we want to take your question too, about taking profits in crypto. They said, I hear people say that you should never sell your crypto, but then how do you take profits? And I want to be clear. I don't know what those people are saying. You guys check me on this, but I think maybe what those people are saying is when you sell your cryptocurrency, you have to sell cryptocurrency to take profit or swap it for another cryptocurrency. For example, if you hold Bitcoin and Bitcoin goes way up in value, your Bitcoin tokens are now worth more, and you decide you want to take profit, you must do so by swapping that Bitcoin for something else. Most of the time, you'll swap it for a stable coin. You might swap it for tokens and take it to cash in your bank. I think what most people are saying when they say don't sell your crypto is they're probably saying when you take profits on your Bitcoin, you want to do so by swapping it for a stable coin, a token whose price is pegged to the value of $1 or another fiat currency, so that you can keep it in the market. If every time you sold crypto, you turned it back into cash, you'd have to send it to your bank. You'd probably have to pay a fee to get it off your exchange. You'd probably have to spend a fee to get it back on chain. It'd probably take several days. It would just be really cumbersome and you'd lose a lot of stuff all the way. I don't know about you guys, but unless I'm planning to pay taxes or buy something, I almost always keep my crypto money in a crypto market, like on chain as a stable coin or something when I take my profit. So, feel free to riff on that, but also I know you had a point you wanted to take it to, Casey.
I was going to chime in on Alex's rant that he was having, because I agree. The other thing is, people, if DeSci is the popular narrative, then people will just grift on that narrative and they'll throw oh, we're a DeSci project, or, let's say there's a Rise Up Morning Show coin. Well, all of a sudden when AI is popular, you're going to turn into Rise Up AI. And it's crazy. No. There's projects too that have AI in their name. They have DeSci in their name, they have whatever in their name. And if you take 72 seconds to evaluate the project, you will see that there's not real AI anything. There's not any kind of real DeSci anything associated. So that's another thing for people to be mindful of, is just that narrative frenzy that happens where it's not, they're not real. It's just an effort to con people using the current narrative. But I'll chime in on the profit taking. So personally, I try and keep as much money / crypto in crypto as possible at all times. I do crypto full time, so I do bring money out to the bank to pay bills that I can't pay in crypto. But the premise of taking profits and things for me, trading my Solana shitcoins, the purpose of it is to make more SOL. It's so that I can, effectively dollar cost average my Solana position without having to pour money in. And again, it's a very risky game, and you have there's edges that, and this isn't to be a jerk, but there's edges that I have that you guys don't have, just because I've spent so much time on building tools and on, creating certain relationships and whatnot, that you have to just get in there and be in there for a long time. So this isn't me saying go try and make money by trading meme coins on Solana. That's not what I'm saying at all. But when I take profits, one of the biggest things that I've done over the past, I'd say, year relative to the rest of my crypto journey, is being okay with having more money in stables. So right now I have a pretty sizable stablecoin position, because I I have, you know, taken some profits and de-risked over the course of the last, few months. And the thing is, like, when we have an explosive parabolic alt season, if I miss the first 5-10% move up on something that I have been keeping on my watch list or something, it doesn't mean that I'll miss the subsequent 50-60% gains, 100-200% gains that I'm going to see on that thing. Right. Yeah. So it's like, I'd rather find the best entry on it, and I'd rather wait to see how things pan out. Now, of course, that doesn't mean I don't have my long-term positions, but I think being okay with being in stables is another thing. Like, when you are taking profits, it's okay to just sit in stables for a little bit. Like, I think that's something that I really had to come to terms with for a long time. I always felt like everything had to be doing something at all times, every cent that I had in crypto.
Yeah. And then the thing is with your stable coins, you can have that earning interest also. So like, it can be working for you and making you some stuff. But one of the biggest mistakes I also made was, again, feeling like I had to be in something. Was like, cool, now it's in this coin. Now I got to find the next coin to trade. But then you end up buying a top, and then you end up losing the profits that you made, and it ends up being a net negative. So, trading is so emotional. It pulls at your emotional heartstrings, and you have to be able to just like take a break, turn off your computer and your phone after you're going to stablecoins, walk away for a little bit, come back. You know, keep your eyes on it, but you gotta take a breather, otherwise you don't secure your profits.
Alex, I just want you to know that when Casey said that about stablecoins, I observed your head snap up because I know you too hold a sizable position in stablecoins, and endorse that it is in fact okay.
It is in fact okay. It is in fact.
Guys, I'm going to jump off video just for a second so I can get a sweatshirt. It's getting cold.
Okay, no problem.
Before I do that though, Will, of all people, I feel like you would love this. Please check out my Bitcoin Cowgirl shirt that I have on today.
Oh, hang on.
Hell yeah.
Keep it there for just 2 more seconds. I'm expanding it so we can see it. The blind people in back.
Oh, it's so subtle.
Where did you get that?
I got it from the Bitcoin conference.
I love the vendors who come there to take our money.
I know, me too. It's amazing.
I know, that one's great.
Okay, we'll see you in a second, Casey. I do want to give Casey a rose and say, Mama Swiss, our friends, Earthy Hen said, Casey, I'm a grandma wanting usable crypto knowledge. Thanks so much for voicing this. And someone else in the chat said, Casey, beautifully said, you're answering my questions. We love having knowledgeable people on the show, and when she gets back, we'll have to. I've seen 2 or 3 times, Casey, what's your top holding, or what are your top 5? So we'll get her on that maybe when she comes back to video. But
I was.
What are you saying?
I was pulling up just a chart because I know this always. I always like to bring this up when we talk about stable coins specifically. Just before we move on from it, the thing that I think can't really be understated when because Will framed this beautifully one time, and I've been using it ever since. DeFi, which I would put DeFi and stablecoins together because the two just work together beautifully.
We're great.
DeFi is basically the only thing in crypto. Gaming is hot on its heels though, that has adoption among its target customer base, not just people who want to speculate on it, which is so strong and cannot be understated because nothing else in crypto except gaming, which is hot on its heels, like I said.
And stablecoins.
Stablecoins, dude.
Nothing else has achieved that. Nothing. One could make a very compelling argument that meme coins have done that. I will say that I think that's valid. I think that's a valid addition to the pile of things that have made it.
I like how you had one thing and now we've got like a list of 4 things. I would also maybe say Bitcoin. Bitcoin.
I think what I mean though is that, like, yes, we have casino games, and yes, we have like, you know, Web3 gaming with things that are tokenized, but in terms of like stuff that you could invest in that actually makes sense to run as an investment, DeFi is basically the only thing. Because I still think that like games that run their own fungible token are mostly Ponzi's. I'm not a big fan.
And if you're talking active adoption, you can't include gaming except for, like, I mean, Off the Grid has some players, right? Axie Infinity had some players in Southeast Asia, but like, you know, still a lot of speculation. But it's DeFi, stablecoins, Bitcoin, and then gambling sites.
But gambling is valid because, like we always say, Vegas is fun and people love going to Vegas. And as long as you're labeled as Vegas, that's totally fine. I got no beef with you. But I only bring this up just to say that the proof in the pudding, as Evan would say, about the validity of DeFi as an industry and specifically stablecoins as the tool to run that whole industry. If we just talk about inflation, we have to remember that, like, while we're in the US or in Canada or wherever thinking that we have it any kind of bad with inflation, we just have to zoom out a little bit and look at the rest of the world, and just talk about, you know, the inflation rates in countries that are actively becoming more and more and more on chain with stablecoins, because you've got countries with multiple hundreds % inflation rates that are finding stability and security with US dollar-backed stablecoins, because that's what they really want, is the dollar. So just a little aside as to why this is so important.
Just a little aside. Welcome back, Casey.
Thank you. I'm back. I'm warm again. I have a big cozy sweatshirt on. But I want to chime in on that stablecoin thing too, because I will say we can talk about it all day, but maybe for me, sometimes it just takes like seeing things firsthand to actually like have the full effect. Last year I lived in Argentina for a little bit. Well, I guess this year, early, like in January, February, I think I didn't have the grasp on inflation that I have until I went and spent time in a country with hyperinflation. So a couple of things just to mention, like, first of all, Argentina, I think, is going to be a massive player in the adoption of cryptocurrency. And, you know, like one of the really cool things that I've seen lately is Buenos Aires is doing digital identity for their residents, and you can use we can get into all that later, but it's using ZK privacy, and you can use a digital ID in Buenos Aires. So like seeing stuff like that adopted is really cool. But for the stable coins, just so you guys like understand, they wouldn't even put prices on stuff in the grocery store because the currency would fluctuate in value so much that like what would cost you this today is a completely different price tomorrow, because it's so bad. And then like you couldn't exchange. When I would do currency conversions on Sundays, you would never do it because that's when you get the worst exchange rate. As well as there's what's called the blue dollar, which is an underground exchange rate that you get for exchanging US dollars for Argentine pesos. And you would get a completely different exchange rate based on the bill denomination that you would trade for them, because, you know, hundreds were more valuable than 20s and 20s were more valuable than 10s. And then lastly, I made a video on my Instagram, but I should have posted it on TikTok and I never did. But I was at the grocery store and there was a woman in front of me paying with this massive stack of cash, like this big. And it was for like $50 US worth of groceries. Like, it's insane just to see when it gets hyperinflated like that. Like, so the stack that I made in the Instagram video, I was holding in my hand, you know, about $20 US worth of Argentine pesos. And 5 years ago, just 5, that same exact stack that I had in my hand was worth $1,000 US. Wow. And so when I actually like was in it every day and experienced it, that's when it really, really kind of altered my brain chemistry, because I was like, oh my God, we think, you know, 3, probably 7, 8, 9, 10, 12% inflation is bad in the United States, but holy shit, it's terrifying.
400 on the low end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple of good friends that live in Turkey that have talked about that quite a lot. One of them is a student who moved there and is in school, and another one is from Turkey and has lived in Turkey for her entire life. And you want to talk about scary inflationary situations and people who are like desperately looking for alternatives to their own currency and finding stability in something like a US dollar-backed stablecoin that they don't have to worry about their government sticking their hands into. There you go.
Well, and I want to
think about these.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm yapping today. You think about these people that, you know, they work their whole lives and they save and they save and they save for nothing. Like for nothing. That's devastating.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, is just that it angers me because like I see the 2 to 3%, but really 8 to 10% inflation as like horrible. It every dollar I get, I am, you know, if I don't have to use this for groceries today, how can I turn this into mostly Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like there is, and I can't imagine living in a place where the acceleration of my currency's debasement is so rapid. But I mean, it's happening here too. Even people who are using our stablecoin token will soon start to feel that as, you know, the dollar continues to debase. It's like it's the fiat machine. I get not to bring up the election so close, but everybody, it seems like, is asking like, what's crypto going to do? Like, I see that question so much right now. And I'm not interested by any answer except like, listen, they're both going to turn on the money machine to do something. They're going to do different things with it, but all of it is going to make your dollar worth less. All of it is going to make your Bitcoin worth more. So like, don't forget about trading the election. Don't worry about memes going to pump tomorrow night. Like, do you have a plan to turn your dollar bills into Bitcoin someday?
I think that Larry Fink's just going to be calling his sales reps, just saying, push the ETF, push it more.
Oh my God.
Push it more. Yeah.
No, I think, Evan, though, you touch on a good way to think about it, though, is separating, as you look at this, the two kind of angles that you might feel drawn to participate in and around this large event that happens tomorrow. On one side, you have, what do I need to do to try to capitalize on what could theoretically happen as a result? Is it going to crash after? Is it going to pump right after and then crash? That's the gamble. You can take a bet on that, but you shouldn't confuse that with the way that, however it could go, could influence your investment thesis over the next X years. And in that sense, Evan is 100% spot on, right? That, like, as we've said, one of those two is going to be elected president. The other thing that is definitely going to happen that we don't even need to speculate on, we can say for certain, is that we're going to get the most pro-crypto Congress that has ever held the title. And it's Congress, so like, let's not get too excited, right? They're a horribly ineffective, antiquated machine of dinosaurs who are mostly going to scream at each other for attention. But there is a chance that they might actually pass a piece of legislation, and the president is superfluous in that equation. You know, they're a figurehead that has to put a signature on something. But if the party says whatever. On the other side, though, I totally get like wanting to speculate on it because, you know, I don't know, Will, I know you've got a number of videos kind of about the short-term thesis for that whole thing. And there's obviously lots of different macroeconomic influence that's going into, you know, which way it could go. We're kind of bleeding a little bit right now, which tracks, right? Because like we had a big run up and now people are nervous and like me, just kind of sitting in stables waiting for the shoe to drop. I don't know. Are you kind of still in the mindset of like, you know, regardless, it's a sell the news event, and then we're going to try to get to some sort of, you know, sense of stability, you know, and then resume? Or where's your head right now?
And also, are you trading that?
Yes, that is where my head is. Well,
and that's the show, folks. We'll see you first thing tomorrow morning, bright and early, same time, same place.
Yeah, correct. I would like 100 of these little coin points, please.
Coin points. That's our new crypto, coin points.
Validate me.
But yeah, no, I mean, this week you have the election, right? So anxiety is up. Right, people are going to be very, very emotional.
Are there more important numbers coming along with that too? Do we get any data this week that matters, or?
No, not really. I mean, we get our weekly jobless claims data report on Thursday, but on Thursday it's all about the Fed's decision to cut interest rates. Which after the jobs report that we got for the month of October, which came out very, very bad, I made a whole video on why I don't think that matters at all. Because those jobs reports are highly affected by 2 gigantic hurricanes and also 3 very large strikes in the United States. And so
very good
you
points.
Also have, what was that?
I said very good points.
Oh yeah. And then, so, you know, it's just a very anxious time for people. People de-risk when they're anxious because of the elections and also uncertain about what the Fed's going to do. But after the jobs report, I think it's a 9% chance, according to analysts, that the Fed will cut rates by 25 basis points, which, if you don't speak basis points, that's 0.25%. The reason why we care about that is it decreases how expensive it is to borrow money. If people can borrow more money, global liquidity rises. Global liquidity rises, risk on assets tends to, perform better. And crypto is very much so still a risk on asset for sure. But that's it. And then also one interesting thing I found out this morning is that every single week of the US election has set in a local bottom for Bitcoin that it reaches ever again in its price history. So it seems like a very good time to buy, according to the history.
That's a great stat.
Yeah.
A very good stat. Yeah. The week of the election sets a low that is never seen again.
Wow. Okay.
So, that's it. And then the election will end and people will panic and other people will celebrate. And then, the most crypto-friendly Congress will move forward. And then Larry Fink just keeps telling his sales reps to scoop up Bitcoin. And then one day he's going to tell his sales reps to start pushing the Ethereum ETF. And then you'll see an altcoin season. And then blah, 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 blah. And everyone's going to look back at this and you're going to look back at all those political crypto content creator people and be like, you said it was going to go to zero if Kamala Harris wins, if she wins, or it's the other side or whatever. And people are going to realize everyone's a ton of fucking shysters. And here we go. Here we are.
I can't wait.
Remember, everyone, if you're seeing crypto people start to post really political stuff, they're either trying to manipulate you out of your Bitcoin or they're trying to manipulate your voice or your vote and your voice too. So just remember, there you go. Anyway.
Casey, are you trading the election at all aside from like more actively on shorter time frames? And then will you explain your top 5 and tell me what the hell is ZRO?
Yeah. So I am trading the election, but the thing is like, I don't have a strategy. Okay, I have a strategy in mind, but I don't have exactly my positioning, what I'm going to do at this point, because it's dependent on what the market gives you then, right? Like it's not something that you can like take any technical analysis that you want to throw on any chart right now and get rid of it, because this is unprecedented price action that we're going to see, good, bad, or indifferent, right? I think the funniest scenario is going to be if it does nothing. Like, I know it's not, but to me, that would be fucking hilarious because
it would be so funny.
Yeah. But
I've thought of that too, and I've been like, I know exactly what video I would make. Exactly what video I think. I would go and take screenshots of everyone's like doomsday disaster tweets, and then just be like, and then Bitcoin just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I think though, I've had a lot of people asking me and kind of like itching to trade the election. Everybody wants to trade the election. And in my opinion, there's kind of two routes that you could take. Is one, I think most people are going to be best off if they just do nothing, or if you just stick to your plan. The other thing that I think, if you really feel, this is where like degenerate Coach Casey will come in and like feed into your desires. If you so feel inclined to, that was kind of wrong, but if you feel so inclined to, don't clip that.
Clip it.
Clip it. It was good. The devil, the Casey Craig devil on your shoulder.
If you feel so inclined that you you will literally die tomorrow if you don't, play the election. Yeah. What I have been telling people to do is, okay, and listen, I don't know for you if it's $100, if it's $10, if it's $1,000. Take your $100, go open a freaking 100x long and open a 100x short, and then play, whatever side ends up working out for you, and cut the other one as soon as possible. Like that's, if you feel the need to speculate that bad, just take a little tiny amount of money and go do it and have fun with it and be okay with getting liquidated in 7 seconds. Because, there's going to be a lot of volatility, I think, in both directions. But, if you need to scratch the itch, go ahead and do it. Just do it responsibly. Like, I'm not going to tell you not to do it because, it's everybody likes to gamble, but just gamble responsibly.
Yeah. Actually, and honestly,
I think that would be a fun content idea, actually, is, opening up like a 100x long with like $100 or something, but in either direction, and then just do that a few times through the night and just see what happens.
Totally. And if you got to do it, here's the other thing, folks. Like, if you got to do that, you're gonna do it no matter what I say. You just start with Bitcoin. Like, why Why would you play with anything that has less liquidity, where slippage is going to be higher, everything is going to be more volatile? If you make the wrong choice on Bitcoin and you, God forbid, started to gamble with money that you can't afford to lose, it's going to take a lot longer for that ship to turn, and you still probably won't have much time. But at least if you got to move out of something, you can move out of Bitcoin and likely incur less loss than if you're, doing Harry Potter, Sonic Omami, kind of thing. That's going.
Yeah, one little caveat I want to give, though, is if you are just doing little play gambles like that, like I'm saying, and it's full gamble. I'm talking, you're going degen mode, you're just having fun, right? Like, I don't normally encourage anybody to go use super high leverage, but again, I'm talking if you need to fill your gambling issues. But if you have money in your account, please make sure you isolate your margin for that position. Like, don't go cross margin and then blow up your account because you were trying to play around. And what I mean by that, if you don't trade on leverage, is like, if you go and you want to have a little gamble position that's $100 and you don't care if you lose it, and you're either it's a moon or dust position, right? Like, it's either gonna go to the moon or to nothing. And what that means is, if you're on 100x leverage, it's gonna take a 1% move for you to get liquidated. So it's going to be very, very quick for you to get liquidated if that moves in the wrong direction. But if your account is on cross margin, you're not going to get liquidated on that position until all of your money in that account is ran through. So make sure you're isolating your margin for that specific position so that you only lose that $100.
And if you don't know what that means, just don't do it.
Make a whole new wallet.
Yeah.
Put your $50 there or whatever, and then just do that. That would probably just be safest,
Definitely.
And call it My Gambling Wallet. Call it something fun that you won't forget. Race car number 19. I don't know. Okay, what the hell is ZRO token?
Hang on 1 second. Race car number 19.
I can't tell if it sounds more like a drink or a meme coin or what, but race car number 19, baby.
Does anybody else, do you guys have funny names for your wallets? Because my wallets all have really funny names.
Yeah, I do. I have too many wallets. So I have one that's like the one that has conflux is what is this one, because there's nothing else in it. I have I don't know. I gotta look up some of my funny ones. I don't think they're actually funny to anybody but me.
Names a lot of inanimate objects in my home. I have never named a wallet.
That surprises me greatly about you, Will.
Yeah, honestly,
honestly, you're surprised. I'm disappointed in myself. It's that future will change.
Would it surprise you to know that my wallets do all have a name and that every single one is the exact same thing? They're all called wallet.
Oh no, that would be such a nightmare.
That would be a nightmare. How do you know which wallet is wallet?
No.
That's the fun. That's the game.
That's the fun. Oh.
They all just have stablecoins in them, so who cares?
Yeah, you're like, wow, this one's up today.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I have a very dear friend of mine who has he says that he doesn't like using Rabby because it limits the amount of wallets that you can use, because he uses hundreds of different wallets for things. But he is, in my opinion, insane, because his wallets are literally wallet 1, wallet 2, wallet 3, wallet 4 to wallet 100, and he knows what they are. He's like, oh yeah, I need to use wallet 27 for that. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But
have you ever taken an autism test?
Oh yeah.
Jeez, yeah.
Crypto is
get that superpower.
It's like the. Sorry, that was my.
Rugged.
No, you're good.
My alarm going off. Yeah, definitely an autist community around here in crypto. Sure. Yeah. So two things: the ZRO. So zero.
And tell everybody who missed your top 5 why the context for that, because zero was in your top 5.
Yeah. So my top 5 holdings are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, then Chainlink, and then ZRO. And those are positions that. Specifically, the top 4 haven't changed for a really long time, because I have so much of them. It would take it would take me a lot to catch up and other things. And they're things that I'm cool with. Those are my multi-year, multi-cycle holdings that I'm cool with. ZRO is Layer Zero's token, and I'm a firm believer in Layer Zero and what it's going to do, and what it is doing. Layer Zero is currently, powering cross-chain communication between 94 blockchains, I believe, last I checked, and hundreds of decentralized applications and stuff like that. So, big fan of ZRO. Now, ZRO also doesn't have any major unlocks coming for almost a year. And so that's another, thing that I'm in favor of. And so there's a lot of positions where, maybe I want to just be clear that maybe it's in my top 5 now, that it might not be in the future. So that doesn't mean that I'm not going to rotate out of that, or I'm not going to, sell my initials whenever it doubles or whatever. Right. But, yeah, it's Layer Zero is what ZRO is, and clearly I'm like an interoperability maxi when you look at like Blink and Zero.
So okay, so let me drill down on that. If that's what your play is, you mentioned they connect like almost 100 chains, but I know this is a competitive area. So like Polkadot's the dinosaur, but it's been doing this work for a long time. Then you've got like Axelar, which is kind of newer by comparison. You've got multi-chain, and then I don't know, there are a ton of like Bridge Plus protocols that do many of these things. So why Layer Zero? What's the differentiator for you that gives you conviction?
Yeah, so Layer Zero is doing kind of this. Okay, so if I forget, remind me of the Polkadot thing. But Layer Zero is doing, I just like the way that they're doing it better than others. And one thing that I really like about Layer Zero is their OFT and OAP token standards and contract standards. So an OFT is an omni-chain fungible token, and that means that it's a token that can be used across a multitude of different blockchains for anybody who's not familiar. So if I said to Alex, hey, Alex, do you want to, or let's say Alex came to me and I'm a developer and he says, hey, Casey, I want to launch this coin. I'd say, okay, great. Where do you want to launch it? And he's like, well, in crypto. And I'm like, well, where? He's like, well, there. Well, where's there? Okay, so he has to tell me as the developer what blockchain he wants to build on, so that I can create this app to meet the token standards of that blockchain. And token standards are just like the rules that a token has to follow to be compatible with that blockchain ecosystem. So one of the ways I like to describe it to people is, if you think about like, if you wanted to go develop a mobile application, you think of like, okay, do you want to launch this on the iOS App Store? Do you want to launch it on Android devices? That's not to say that you can't have it on both, but that app would actually be coded differently depending upon whether it was for, an iOS operating system or an Android operating system. So you can think of token standards similarly to that, where you can't put an iPhone application on an Android, you can't put an Android application on an iPhone, right? So you can't put a Solana token on an Ethereum blockchain. You can't put a, XYZ, whatever. So that's kind of your little primer in token standards. So this omni-chain fungible token standard is really a token standard that's compatible with all blockchains that adopt it. And same thing goes with the OApps, so omni-chain applications, where they can, they're apps that are built with the intent of being able to be deployed across a vast multitude of blockchains, so that it abstracts away the need to know what chain you're on for consumers. And there's a lot that they're doing in the way of chain abstraction and account abstraction, where users will just know, I have a crypto balance. So like when you go and you look at Coinbase, you don't know. I mean, until you go to transfer funds, you don't know what network anything is on. You don't have to ever think about that. And so that anybody who's doing stuff like that, I really, really like just making it easier for people to like feasibly use this stuff.
That makes sense. Now tell me, why Polkadot? You mentioned come back to Polkadot.
Yeah. So Polkadot is a project that I was a Polkadot maxi probably 4 years ago. And, it is, hey, Alex, I feel like we're always on the same page. It is something where, so Polkadot, I think, was before its time, in my opinion. And like, yes and no there. And so what I liked whenever we saw kind of the rise of interoperability solutions was Polkadot and then the Cosmos ecosystem. The Cosmos ecosystem really improved the user experience for people. However, still effing complicated for people to bridge to and from Cosmos. IBC transfers made it a little bit easier to go cross-chain, but the interoperability solutions have really, really struggled. To this day, I think Polkadot has the shittiest user experience in all of crypto, and I think they completely fumbled. Yeah, I think they fumbled the greatest technology ever, which is Substrate. And there's actually a project that I love and that I'm really close with. Alex, he knows because he met them with me do you remember this, Alex?
Yes,
yeah. So Glue is a project that I really like, that they're using the Polkadot Substrate framework. And Glue has nothing to do with Polkadot, but it's a layer 1 with interconnected layer 2s that you'll never need to know what network that you're on. And they're focused on user experience. They're focused on just making a DeFi Rails, but with a centralized exchange experience. And actually, if you guys ever want to have them on here, I could get them on here for you too. But,
obviously, we want to.
Yeah, but really, really great people. And the cool thing about Glue as well is I've kind of turned into a Glue maxi, but
which sounds like a drug problem, but I digress.
Is these guys, they've both built multiple $100 million Web 2 marketing companies. So they understand user acquisition. They understand lead generation. They understand bringing users on board. And they also they're kind of the ethos of building stuff that is beyond incredible from a DeFi perspective, but you'll never need to know that. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of where my head's at around interoperability and, just projects that I'm super bullish on the idea of, I like the modular thesis. I like, this is kind of a controversial take, but, app chains and chain specific, things, lots of L2s. I'm actually cool with all of that. As long as we have proper interoperability and abstract away the pain points from the users.
And for anybody who's not familiar, this is kind of like a level 2 crypto debate, but generally speaking, you can think of blockchains as like cities. And, the layer 1, the foundation of the network is like all the stuff that happens on the ground floor of a city that, connects this piece to that piece, the plumbing, the subway, the highway. And then you might have, layer 2s are kind of these like extenders of a city, the way that New York had to build upward and every big city has to build upward. You might live in an apartment building where there's apartments and Google has an office and there's a cafeteria and there's a gym. That's like a layer 2. And if you want to access all that stuff conveniently, you can go there and do it versus having to travel the city. And different people have different convictions about the ways that the cities we have built on this new iteration of the internet are going to scale. Are they going to build upward? Are they going to build outward? Are they going to build bridges to other cities? And it's nerdy, but hotly contested. So if you're, just getting into it, don't worry. You can catch up on that soap opera, but I kind of feel the same way. I'm big on modularity. We had a question that I want to touch before we leave your portfolio stuff. And you guys get this a lot, I know, is Chainlink. A lot of people, Chainlink is a divisive crypto right now. I feel like, in the sense that everyone knows it's valuable, but do you hold it in your portfolio? Is it divisive? I don't hold it now. I think it's one of the most valuable cryptocurrency tokens and companies that we got. It's right up there with, Polkadot for me in terms of cool tech. But what's your conviction on Link as a portfolio? Is it just because it's, under all-time high and you see it going back or exceeding that? What are your thoughts there? And then guys, feel free to chime in.
Yeah. So, I have been in Chainlink for a very, very long time. And so I will say, I'm not somebody who's sitting extremely underwater on Chainlink, like a lot of people are that got into it at, $45. And then now they're just kind of waiting for it to get back. So Chainlink is just, again, it's a long-term conviction play. It's something that I don't care if it moves at a snail's pace. It's fine with me. That's one of those things that, I believe over time it will outperform Bitcoin holdings, my real estate holdings, my, whatever, like your 401k, whatever. Is it going to be a moonshot 100xer? Absolutely not. But it's not intended to either. And so I don't know. I have a lot of Chainlink. I stake it. It earns me 4% per year, and I chill. Like that's.
Do you feel like it's not appropriately priced though? Like as a piece of infrastructure, how big do you think it could get in the next, I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be here, and it's hard to speculate on a real short or even a real long time frame. But like, what are some of your kinds of price targets that, because I look at something like Ether Solana. I don't know if there was a great paper that came out recently, like how do you price a network? And I often think that these things are hyped and that their price does not necessarily match the value that they provide our market. It's tough to assess that. I feel like Chainlink is pretty accurately valued, but I don't know where I think it could go. And I often tell people, I just, I'm not excited to speculate on it because of that, but I'm curious what you think.
Yeah, that's 100% fair. I think that, as over time, there's more and more institutional adoption of Chainlink, and there's more need for the Chainlink token from, XYZ parties actually using Chainlink. I think that by way of its usability growing, then the value increases. But again, like for you feeling that it is appropriately priced right now, like I think that's 100% fair and valid. I also think there's a bit of, speculative interest that comes when the market we're at what, a $2.5 trillion market cap. The market goes to a $10 trillion market cap. Some of that money floods to Chainlink, and that's not a good investment thesis, but that's like just as a secondary, like.
But I think it's a safe play for anybody who sees who wanted to buy in, at $10, for example. Like I would be like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's like, I'm more just it's like the vibe of Chainlink over the past year and a half has been like more and more people have just in the community gotten like down on Chainlink in general. Right. And I think it's because, well, Chainlink is an absolutely critical piece of infrastructure in the crypto space, unequivocally so, and will probably be around and be relevant for so long as crypto's around, unless for some reason there's a day and age where we no longer need an oracle, where I never see that happening. It's just that like Chainlink isn't sexy, and it's not a sexy thing. It's something that you need, but it doesn't get the blood pumping, if you will, amongst cryptocurrency investors. And what does that? Meme coins are like the great example of what does that. But like everyone recognizes that Chainlink has value, but it's boring, even though it's necessary. And that boring thing makes people not want to buy it. And then you combine that now with, because that was offset with price action doing great, right? And now price action has been boring. Although if you look at the chart, I mean, it still went up. Let me see here if I can do this quickly. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, from September of last year, it did a 300%, pretty damn solid. So like it shows an ability to move. I think if it can start moving, it should, if Bitcoin does well, because it has great adoption, that it can get that support right now. But like, if you're a short-term cryptocurrency investor, by short-term, I mean like 1 year, like up to 1 year or less, I don't think Chainlink's on your list of things to buy until it starts getting more of that like market share on, crypto socials again. Unfortunately, by the time you see that, it's typically too late to buy in at lower levels. Chainlink could have really good long-term adoption and therefore really good long-term price action for a long-term investment potentially. But an issue for me with that is like any cryptocurrency that's not Bitcoin, I just look at and I say, there's enough risk there long-term for me to not hold long-term for me, as I do my risk analysis. So Chainlink is in this like weird zone for me. It's in this weird no man's land where I see fantastic adoption and it being around for a long time, but enough things there for me to be like, I wouldn't buy this long-term for myself. And that's just it. And I wouldn't buy it short-term either because it doesn't have enough like excitement or buzz around it. If it got that buzz, started going up, I'd be like, ooh, this is interesting, and could potentially wait to see a dip to then start buying in. Then I'd be interested. But as of right now, I just don't necessarily have that. It just needs to be sexier.
It needs to be sexier.
It's just like, I think maybe my controversy on Chainlink is that I mean, I agree. I love it. It's important. It doesn't have to go to $1 million to be successful. It proves that every single year. Every single time we go into a bear market and it continues to function exactly as intended, regardless of price action, is one of the most bullish things that you can say for a network that has a token. But I just couldn't give less of a shit about the price of it, which means that most people probably don't either, which means it has, like you said, Casey, a lot of salty bag holders that are underwater, which hurts it in the long run. So if it can hold up and continue to execute as intended, despite that, that's a bull case for sure. I just think it has no reason to really like explode in price. That's been my thesis on Chainlink from day one. I mean, I'm lucky enough now to know Eric, who is one of, like I keep saying, one of the first 8 people that worked there. And I had this conversation with him, just like, I feel like it's not in its best interest to go to $1 million. So there's the, there's kind of the bear case, but like, at the same time, it doesn't need to. It just needs to keep functioning until something better comes along, which is the nature of business. I did want to go back really quick without like derailing us to rehash this entire conversation, but on the polka dot thing. Agreed, 100%. I used to be just obsessed with it, and I still really like it. And that thesis has evolved over the years in a couple of different ways. One, when my dad was looking for like a tool to do a specific blockchain testing thing, without him giving any kind of a care about whose chain is, the more favored one, he landed on Polkadot because it was the best at doing the thing that he wanted to do, which I thought was great. And I think that you just really have to differentiate between in the experience talk, the dichotomy of user experience and developer experience, because they're very different. And crypto usually struggles to marry the two, which is why you see Solana doing well, because building there is easy and it works. And there's a lot of people and there's apps that like are easy to use that you can do stuff with. So developers have an audience and the audience has people making stuff that they can use. I think you scroll out a little bit, Polkadot has an incredible developer experience. Nobody gives a shit what they're doing because there are a bunch of nerds doing weird things and the foundation's doing weird stuff with its marketing budget, and they decentralized that consensus, that governance way too early. And it bit them in the ass to the tune of $100 million. Although, bull case, it bit them in the ass to the tune of $100 million and they're still going and they still have more money. So
right.
that's pretty good. Not many foundations could eat a marketing loss that bad.
Nope.
And then you have Base, right? Base is a really good user experience, and now they're just waiting for like more people to build more things over there, which is coming. I think it's early, but I think Base is another one like Solana that is going to be able to marry the developer and the user experience into doing that well.
And most people won't even know it.
And they won't even know it. Yeah. Which again is like the cool shout out to the abstraction narrative, which I'm also a huge fan of. But again, something that I think probably doesn't need a whole bunch of Ponzi schemes, although I know we're going to get them.
I agree. And there's kind of like this is a hot take as well, but Base, I feel like, is primed for so many different reasons. But I mean, fiscal motivation, we can just talk about that on the Coinbase side. I can't remember the numbers. I'd have to pull it up. I don't even have my computer on me, but Coinbase is absolutely fucking printing on the sequencer fees of Base. And so like it is in Coinbase's best interest for Base to do well. Now, I think there's, more of the, like on the positive side of things, Coinbase does want to push people on chain, but Coinbase has a fiscal interest in Base doing well. And so if you personally believe that crypto is here to stay and that Coinbase is here to stay, then Base is likely here to stay too. And, not just for a lot of the on-chain innovation that's happening, but purely from a monetary perspective, like I don't see Coinbase decentralizing their sequencer anytime soon because they're just making way too much money.
Well, and honestly, they're putting a lot of that money right back into the ecosystem. They are using the sequencer fees to pay for a lot of stuff. I don't know if you guys knew this, but the CBBTC product that they offered, they custody it 1-to-1. When you trade your Bitcoin to Coinbase to get their wrapped assets, CBBTC, so you can go do DeFi stuff with your Bitcoin, they are not doing anything with it. They're just holding it for you so that they can be like a trusted custodian. And they are giving up. I mean, think about the money they are giving up, as they're the number one, I think, centralized holder of Bitcoin now in the world. They could be doing so much DeFi, earning so much money, but they're just printing everywhere else. They want to be the front door of the on-chain internet, and I understand why. Like, it's worth it.
Mm-hmm. No, that's why I'm more bullish on Base than anything. Even though Solana has more money and users right now than just about anywhere. Actually, I think than anywhere at the moment. But yeah, we just need retail to come when they're still not here. If you go and look on Google Trends and type in Bitcoin, the levels are still super, super low. But that'll change when Bitcoin hits like 100,000, hits that psychological number, and then you'll see like retail dive in and become exit liquidity. Hooray.
Yep. That's what
speaking of exits, it's just about that time to ride our dogs and ponies off into the sunset. So everybody start thinking about what your final thought might be. If you've got a last minute question, suggestion, good joke, word of wisdom, we want to hear from you. And if we didn't get to a question that you asked today, I want to take a quick second to let you know, direct your attention if you're on TikTok over here. And if you're on StreamYard down below, or sorry, I mean, where the hell are we? YouTube, Twitter, everywhere else. Sorry, our unwanted stepchildren. If you guys matter, check out the free Rise Up Discord community. It's discord.gg/riseup. You can find it through the links in our bios. I'm pretty sure we all have one except Casey. And even if you message Casey, she could help you get in touch with us and figure out how to get over there. It's totally free. It is the place the show lives 24/7, even when we're off the air. And if you're just finding the show for the first time, welcome. You're early, literally. It's morning somewhere. We're here live Monday through Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time to take your questions, share helpful news and commentary. And we're live Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Central to review your altcoin picks, to interview expert guests. We just had Dennis Porter on last week, and it's fantastic. All our episodes, all our streams, they live on YouTube. And you can also find that by clicking on our faces. It's all available for you at the link in our bios, the riseupmorningshow.com. And on that note about links and bios and faces, these are our only accounts. And I'm sure this is true for Casey too. We're never going to direct message you. We're never going to approach you from an account claiming to be a backup with an opportunity to see how your trading is going.
We don't have a Telegram.
That's right. Anybody who does that is trying to scam you. If I get desperate, I will probably, you guys, I forgot to tell you this. This is maybe my final thought. I got approached by a website on Instagram. If I get desperate, apparently there's a Footopedia, Wikifoodia, something like that. WikiFeet. Cold DM'd me on Instagram and said, "Hi, I'm an ambassador for WikiFeet."
Why do you know that?
I mean, right, exactly. Alex, that's creepy, man.
It's because every time anyone does anything, like anyone becomes, because it's relevant with you doing Hysteria. That you're there, you are in the index, and the internet needs to know what your feet look like. Plus, Evan, your feet were in the show,
dude. Right.
In your episode, it's even more topical.
So never show your toes for free. Remember that, everybody.
Yeah, they reached out to me, and the guy's like, he's like, "Hi, this is weird." Sweaty emoji, smiley face. But I'm an ambassador for WikiFeet, and we have your page up now. Do you want to claim it? And I was like, what? Because I did the show, and it reactivated my IMDb and all my credits and stuff. And so if I'm ever down really bad, what I'm going to do is, they tell me I've got great feet. I'm going to take some pictures. But until that time, we are never going to DM you. We're always going to only reach out to you in a public channel. And the best way to get a hold of us, for questions is right here at these profiles. Follow us and then check out the Discord server. We would love to help you there. So
well, I have a question for the devil on the shoulder, Casey Craig. If one were to go, and I was looking it up now, I'm trying to find the best place, to go and do 100x longer short on maybe not some political meme coins on the night of the election, what would be the maybe not best or worst platform to do that on?
Personally, I like to leverage trade on gains.trade and Hyperliquid. Mostly Hyperliquid, but also gains.trade.
I've never heard of gains.trade.
Yeah, so Gains is actually pretty sweet. I used to trade on Quenta a lot, and Quenta, GMX, and Gains have kind of combined their efforts into one mega perp dex. And there's a lot of good stuff coming on that front. But I really like Hyperliquid. That's where I do most of my trading. But
that's great.
Yeah. So okay, Gains perfect. And Quenta, or not Quenta, Hyperliquid. What I will say though is if you are going to do any kind of like delta neutral shenanigans on some of the, like on Hyperliquid, you can't go long and short on the same asset at the same time. So that's why I recommended 2 different platforms. Because if you want to open a long and a short, do it on 2 different places. Like on some things, on some platforms, you can create delta neutral positions by simultaneously going long and short on a position, but you can't do that on Hyperliquid. And I found that out the hard way because I had a long position open that was underwater, and I decided I wanted to short that asset rather instead. So I went to open the short, and it actually closed the long at a loss, and then it opened the short. And so just know that you can't go delta neutral on Hyperliquid.
Is there a KYC required on the gains.trade?
No.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. Good tip. Very good tip. Casey, since you're our guest of honor, and thank you so much for coming by and making this just a great episode. Everyone's just raving in the comments. We can't wait to have you back again. And I would love to give it to you to have the final, do you have a final thought before we kind of wrap up the show? Alex, I know you got yours. I'll give one last commercial, but question, suggestion, good joke, word of wisdom, anything we can do to support you?
No, just thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I love being here. Your community is like the most positive, fun community to be around. So I really, really appreciate coming here and hanging out with you guys. Love these conversations. Always happy to come and chit chat with you guys. 2 things for you. One is, everybody, please practice patience during election week. Don't try and, go crazy trying to trade this volatility. Like just stick to your guns, stick to your thesis. Again, if you feel the need to gamble, you feel the need to do that, just please be super responsible, do it with small amounts of money. And just know that, I think all of us can agree that we think that the market is going to go up at some point soon. So even if there is short-term volatility, just look for opportunities and don't FOMO, don't chase things, don't feel like you need to react to the election in a certain specific way, right? Like if you went to sleep for the next week and then came back the following week, you would be fine. So I kind of want to put that out there. And then my last thing that I want you all to think about for today is, are there more leaves in the world or more fish?
Leaves like leaves of trees?
Wait, no, fish. Wait. What are we considering to not be fish? Like are...
Yeah, also like is grass a leaf?
Are plankton fish?
My day is ruined.
Is gasoline liquid leaves?
Yeah, I'm absolutely not going to be productive at all.
Gasoline is one leaf.
Okay, this bothered me for days, and eventually had to figure out the answer. But I want you. I had a full thesis developed for both sides. So I want you guys to think about it. Like, yeah, is it leaves or fish? Because the world is 95% water.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going fish.
I don't know, man. Are fish the leaves of the sea?
But it's also so deep. Are fish the leaves of the sea? In which case, it's 100. We're all leaves.
There's also leaves in the ocean.
Yeah, and what about plankton, which is in the ocean? Isn't plankton like is a leaf anything that photosynthesizes? Well, that's kind of what I'm leaning towards.
Not categorized as a fish, though.
Yeah, I would say like anything that would be like classified as a fish, not a plankton. And like I'm not talking blades of grass, I'm talking leaves on trees. And we're not talking like pine needles.
This is the most lit the chat has been in the past hour and a half.
But also
so good.
But also leaves on bushes. So,
but those aren't leaves.
There's leaves.
What are they then?
There's not a lot of trees or fish in the trees. So leaves exist in both. My day is ruined.
Thank God I have a flight today, so I'm thinking about this all day. Okay, that was absolutely diabolical. I'm gonna
have to start leaving with riddles. Right, I didn't mean to cause this, but I'm gonna start doing this regularly.
To have a final thought anymore.
There it is. That's
it. Alex, take us to your final thought, and then I'll get us out of here.
Casey, we gave you the final thought responsibility, and you ruined everybody's day.
It is leaves.
Okay, I'll contemplate this on my drive. It's got to be fish. I'm going.
Okay, rescue me from myself, Alex. Take me somewhere else and give me a final thought.
I will make my final thought the rapid fire answer to two people's kind of similar question. When we say there was several questions that came through about like, hey, I have X dollars. What should I do? We always just say buy some USDC, because if you're asking someone that question, you're not ready to invest in anything, and you clearly are either fishing for a free buy signal, which we're not going to give you because that's illegal, and sorry, I just got a ping that distracted me. And two, you just don't have a strong enough conviction to like put your money into something else. So if that's you, just get some USDC and earn some interest. And then the follow-up question was, okay, well, where are we earning interest? If you hold USDC on Coinbase, you don't need to stake anything, you don't need to lock anything, you just earn interest. And it's that easy. And it just grows by 5% as it's sitting there, and use that time as the impetus to go and learn more stuff, to build that conviction, to figure out where you actually want to put that, what you would actually like to invest in. You have to answer that question for yourself. Every cryptocurrency has a different risk profile. Every investor has a different risk profile. You got to match those things up. So if you're asking, I have X dollars, what should I do with it? We are always going to tell you, get some USDC, earn some interest, and then start learning about other stuff. And that is the single best way that you can start when you're first getting into this space.
Yeah.
And it's definitely fish.
Yeah. And I just want to highlight, with my final thought, I'm going to highlight these two incredible comments. One is from Keith, the composer of our theme song. This is too fishy. I'm leaving. And just scrolling said Walt. Well, this one is a close second. Walt Fishman, Leaves of Grass. A very literary comment.
That's good. That's good. I think
my final thought is
my vote
is once again join the Discord server. Come back to the show. If you want to support the show and also do yourself a favor, I've got two options for you. You can buy the morning show mug. It is a steal of a deal. Makes your coffee and tea taste better. But beyond that, if you're not a coffee drinker, you should check out the live resources that we have to learn crypto at theriseupmorningshow.com. Did you know you can get like the crypto quick start course bundle for like $6 a recording if you become a premium member? It's totally free to try it. And here's why I'm bringing it back to the mug. If you're a premium plus member for $19.99, you get discounts on everything, and you get a coffee mug for free. So Evan. It's like, Evan, what? How does it get better? Are you going to throw in a feet pick?
No. Well, depends how many people subscribe.
Sweeten the deal for me, Alex.
I know you're the one who's about to be on WikiFeet now. Christina will be very excited to hear that.
And then Foot Finder's next.
No, I was just gonna say we need to get Tech CEO his own mug. That is just labeled as world's best mug salesman.
Honestly, we really do.
Because he is.
Okay.
World's best salesman.
So, support yourself, support the show. And if you want a mug for free, the premium membership awaits you. And really the true value of the premium membership is you get deep discounts on everything, classes, coaching. But I want you to discover that later after you come back to see us tomorrow. We will be back live, same time, same place at the Rise Up Morning Show. So until then, my friends, be safe, stay well, make lots of money. And of course, everybody, rise up.